IPS monitors have been known for their fast response times, great colors, and great viewing angles. And if you just so happen to be looking for a gaming monitor using this technology, and you are on a budget, then you just might like the IPS gaming monitor from Pixio that I will be reviewing today. The Pixio PX248 Prime Advance here has a 1 millisecond pixel response time, 1080p 144Hz refresh rate, plenty of ports, works with consoles, supports HDR, let me put an asterisk here, and can sometimes be found on sale for as low as $100. With all these features available for this price, along with a couple more that I'll cover later, I personally think that even at the full MSRP of $150, this is a great value choice, as long as you don't mind the limited screen size of 24 inches. So, hit that subscribe button if you're new to this channel to stay updated, and let me share with you how well I think this budget gaming monitor from this American company holds up against other entry models from well-established brands. Starting off real quick with what's in the box, the monitor comes carefully packed in a generic red Pixio box. Sliding the foam tray out, you will find the screen itself, a skinny stand made from metal alloy, a generic 12 volts adapter with a printed sticker of the brand stuck on it, a DisplayPort cable, nice, a screwdriver, and a piece of a quick start guide. Putting the monitor together was fairly fast and easy with just one screw to tighten with the included screwdriver, and I was surprised that the skinny legs was able to hold up the monitor quite steadily. With this small stand, the screen occupies a small footprint on your desk at approximately 65 square inches. Though, because of the simplicity of the stand, there is no swivel or height adjustments, and only a tiny amount of tilt adjustments of 5 to 15 degrees. So I highly recommend using a monitor arm with this screen, or at least a tabletop monitor riser to prop the screen higher to avoid straining your neck. Taking a closer look at the overall design and the build quality of the PX248 Prime Advance, it looks very generic with some engravings on the back, and is made with this matte black plastic that is surprisingly don't feel cheap at all like you would find on many budget electronics. So it should be quite durable as long as you don't abuse it. Now, considering that this is a monitor priced to be in the budget category, it is actually leaving me with quite a positive first impression. Well, except for the ugly sticker on the generic adapter. But since Pixio also included a DisplayPort cable and kept the price reasonable, I guess I can overlook the adapter. Plus, it will be plugged somewhere out of sight anyways. Behind the PX248 Prime Advance, you'll find two DisplayPort 1.4 and two HDMI 2.0 ports. And just in case you're wondering why not HDMI 2.1, it's because at 1080p, there's no need for those with higher bandwidth versions, and plus it helps keeps the cost down. Turning the screen on, I immediately noticed how thin the top left and right bezels are. At 0.5mm, it should be great for multi-screen setups without having a huge border down the middle. And considering the price of the PX248 Prime Advance, you could easily get 2 or 3 screens for the price of one flagship 27 or 34-inch screen, giving you a lot more screen real estate if that's what you desire. Though, after booting up a game, I did notice that the panel does not get as bright as I would like it, even at maximum brightness. At 300 nits of peak brightness, it is bright enough for most dark scenes in games and movies to be visible in a brightly lit room or during the day, but it could be brighter so that the colors and images will be more vibrant when gaming during the day. There's also a black equalizer setting in the OSD to help with this, but I never had to use it as I mostly game at night in a dark room, so 300 nits is more than enough for me. Although, if you do use this screen in the dark, you will notice that this panel will have some noticeable backlight bleeding and some IPS glow during dark scenes, as you can see here. So that is something that you need to keep in mind, and it is something that happens with IPS panels. Now, going back to that asterisk that I mentioned about HDR support earlier, the panel supports HDR and lets you turn on the option in Windows and PlayStation 5, but because of the low peak brightness and the lack of dimming zones, I really couldn't see any difference with it turned on. Then again, it could be also because I've gotten too used to OLED screens. But it shouldn't matter because HDR doesn't win you matches anyway. What does help give you a competitive edge though is the 144Hz refresh rate, the 1 millisecond of gray-to-gray pixel response time, and the relatively low input lag, which I feel that this panel does very well for $150. During the past month that I have tested this monitor, image ghosting was not easily noticeable. I mean, it's there, but only if you look very hard to look for it. But at 24 inches, it's gonna be hard to notice it unless you have eagle eyes. There are also pixel overdrive settings in the on-screen display settings should you want to experiment with different types of content, but I found that if I use anything higher than the low setting for pixel overdrive, pixel overshoot becomes very obvious for the types of content that I consume, so I would generally leave it at off. But either way, even at low and offsetting, this panel's pixel response times already performs better than another VA panel that I have reviewed on the channel from a more well-established brand. As for the other features in the OSD that could be useful, includes toggling the AMD FreeSync Premium to minimize screen tearing on PC, but doesn't work with the PlayStation 5's VRR, on-screen crosshairs, timers, and some basic color adjustments. And talking about colors, the PX248 Prime Advance is able to reproduce up to 16.7 million colors at 8 bits and supports up to 118% of sRGB colors. But because of its rather limited DCI-P3 coverage of only 87% and a rather high delta E of 12.5 according to clearcrypt.com, it should definitely not be used for professional work. But for gaming and media consumption though, it's perfectly fine. Oh, and I almost forgot to mention that this screen also has two built-in 2-watt speakers that do not get very loud and sounds like this. Therefore, at $150 or $100 when it goes on sale, I personally find that the PX248 Prime Advanced budget gaming monitor comes with a lot more features than what you are paying for. And even though each of the features are not the latest and best tech that is available, they are, in my opinion, sufficient enough and work reasonably well. For instance, if you were to compare to entry models from bigger companies, they might offer slightly faster refresh rates or a couple more nits of brightness, but they are also charging you more for it. But depending on your budget, Pixio also has quite a selection of gaming monitors for different budgets on their website. So if this one doesn't really quite check your list, go ahead and check out their website, which I will link below. So what are your thoughts of this monitor? Do you think that the features are worth the price? And which feature on a gaming monitor is the most important for you? Let me know in the comments. Alright, hope you guys enjoyed today's video and find it helpful. And as always, thank you for watching and thank you Pixio for sending over the stream all the way from the States. Consider leaving a like as it will help me and this channel a lot more than you know it, and I'll see you again in the next video. Ciao!